you've also got in your notes that you once worked with Barry Windham in Africa. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so Jerry used to sit at ringside. This is where, in Kuwait, when he famously double arm suplexed Stone Cold right on the stadium floor. Steve tried to jump him, and he suplexed Steve. I'm like, Jerry, that's our meal ticket. That is our mortgage payments. That's our car payments. You almost killed the hottest name in wrestling, which, by the way, he ran over Tommy Wildfire Rich with a automobile one time with Michael Hayes, which is a felony, and almost killed him too. So there's precedent for this. So guys used to try to mess with Jerry. They thought it was fun. We had nothing else to do on these international tours. So Barry Windham, we're in the ring, and Barry goes, "Hey, kid, when we get done," and this is during the match, working with Furnace and LaFawn, by the way. And he said, he goes, "When we get done," he goes, "hit him low. I'm going to hit him high." He goes, "We're going to take out Brisco." Because, he and Barry Windham and Brisco stuck a pickup truck in a tree one time. True story. True story.
How do you stick a pickup truck in a tree?
You miss the stop sign.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a little red truck, and they're, Barry used to drive a freaking 100 miles an hour everywhere Barry went. And they come up there, and Jerry yells, "Yeah, Jerry, tell a story." It was on his property. He goes, "Stop sign!" And when he did, Barry hit the thing and went up, and they literally stuck a pickup truck in a tree. 100% true. They had to shake the tree to get it down. Yeah, Barry Windham stuck a pickup truck in a tree. You can ask Gerald Brisco, ask Barry Windham. Yeah. It actually stuck in the tree. Jerry, for years, had a tree that was broken because obviously it's not supposed to hold up a tree, but it hit the tree, and apparently it was only like 3 or 4 feet above the ground, but because the tree was breaking because the truck had so much weight. And then they shook the tree, and the tree broke. And so Jerry had this tree in his yard that was broke all this time because they put a pickup truck in it. So there's a lot of history between.
Hang on. You're going too fast. You got to let me process something.
Okay.
I'll just say that you're like, well, now obviously the tree wasn't prepared to hold the truck. So
that's right. Yeah, they were driving like they did back in the day, 100 miles an hour. Barry Windham could drive a car so freaking fast. It was unbelievable. Barry was Cool Hand Luke, man. People talk about Harley. I'll put Barry Windham up against Harley. Now, that's two great legends. One's great, one's greater. But, man, that Barry Windham would drive a car. And he would drive that thing with his foot in the freaking carburetor like he stole it. It was shocking how fast Barry would drive. And so that's what he's doing with the little red pickup truck when they missed the stop sign and landed in a tree.
Well, I mean, that's a cartoon, what you just laid out. We got to recreate that with animation or something. Maybe we'll get AI on it. But tell me about the rest of this Africa story.
So Barry tells me, because Barry's got this history with Jerry, because I don't think Blackjack knew that he was giving Barry to Satan and Beelzebub, the Brisco brothers, to ride with. He told the Briscoes, he goes, "Would you take care of my boy Barry?" Well, you give him to freaking Satan to take care of. So it's a wonder Barry's alive now. So Barry was tortured by the Briscoes. He loved it. It was fun, but he's this 18-year-old kid, having to drive them and all this stuff and, drink and smiz and all this stuff that the Briscoes do. So there's this history there. He goes, "Kid, hit him low. I'll hit him high." He goes, "We're going to get his ass." So we're like in Joburg or something. There's like quite a big crowd there. We come by him, I act like I'm not doing anything, walk in the dressing room, and all of a sudden I hit Jerry low and I got his legs, but I don't try to take him down because I expect Barry Windham to clean his clock. So I got his legs wrapped up. Now it's perfect for Windham just to knock him over like a freaking 10 pin in bowling, And I look and I see Barry is walking to the dressing room. He had double crossed me. And I'm like, "Oh no. I've got hold of a Brisco in front of a live crowd. There's nobody to pull this man off of me." And now I'm stuck. And that Brisco got on my back. He got my nose. He'd clip your nose where you couldn't breathe and put his hand over your mouth where you couldn't breathe. So you're like dying. I mean, you're literally suffocating to death. And then he'd ride you. So after this match, you've got this guy in a suit down there that a lot of people knew, a lot of people didn't. A lot of people just saw this guy in a suit stretching Bradshaw. You're like, why is the fan beating up Bradshaw? So Brisco stretched me pretty good, and nobody came to help me. No, not a soul. They thought it was so funny. Then he comes back to the dressing room and he goes, "You want to go round two?" I said, "Yeah, with Windham, not with you."
You know, you have a note in here, and I actually know a little bit about this one, but I don't know that we've ever told the story. But your note in here says the time Brisco died in Iowa. So this is a couple years ago. I was there, but didn't see this happen, but I heard about it, and it was the talk of Iowa that day. Tell us what really happened.
So I'm sitting with Jerry. We're in the bar there at the Hall of Fame, the Waterloo, Iowa Hall of Fame, which, you know, does wonderful, wonderful work. You've done a lot with Conrad, and Jerry is the head of the board and does wonderful stuff there. You know, Jerry's on the head of the board of the Hall of Fame. He's done stuff for Native kids all over Oklahoma. You know, Jerry does wonderful things, but he's sitting there with me in the bar, and he looks at me, he says, call 911. I'm having a stroke. And I looked at him, and as soon as I looked at him, because that's so strange to hear somebody say that, you know, you think he's joking or something, you know, you don't know why he said it. You don't think it's legit. But as he says it, his eyes roll back in his head, and he falls off the chair. And Tony Gurria's wife or girlfriend, whatever Marcia was there. She grabbed him. She's a nurse, and I grabbed him too. And he's, soaked, covered in sweat, and he's unresponsive, completely unresponsive. James Beard was right there with us. I said, James, call 911. And James started laughing. Then he looked and was like, oh my God. So he called 911. The ambulance gets there in minutes. Of course, you know, there's nothing to do in Iowa. You know, birds fly upside down in Iowa because there's nothing worth shitting on. So there's nothing to do in Iowa. So the ambulance probably just driving around, you know, with a bunch of teenage kids drinking or something.
Oh my God.
So the ambulance is there in like minutes. And Jerry is still not responsive. Conrad, I thought we had lost him or we're losing him. I thought this is it. And they put him on the gurney. There's fans everywhere in the bar, and they put him on the gurney. He's still not responsive. And I lean over to him, and he has not been responsive. His eyes roll back in his head. I said, Mr. Brisco, don't you die in Iowa. You know how embarrassing that would be. And he kicks out like the Undertaker, and he looks up and goes, no shit. And all the guys on the gurney are like, what does that mean? They go, your state sucks. I'm sorry, but at least he revived him. He literally kicked out and goes, no shit. So the next year we go back, fans were around that came up to Jerry and would tell him, say, I heard Bradshaw say that, and you kick out and say, no shit. And that's when he kicked out because he didn't want to die in Iowa. I don't blame him.
Oh, what a fucking story. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-Free Shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that AdFreeShows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.